Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all the news from Star Citizen from the week just past. I am your host Mac, so let's get on with it. This week, 3.9 gets ever closer to live release. We hear about the progress on the Starlifter, plus we get an insight into what animals we will see in the verse. So before we begin, a quick 3.9 PTU update. We are currently on Alpha 3.9.0 Q, which brought a lot more bug fixes and improvements. It was also opened up to Wave 2, which is excellent news. Now, we still don't know how long it'll be with Wave 2, but I have only experienced good things in this latest patches, so I'm really hoping that whatever it is holding them off from releasing to the Open PTU or even live gets resolved. Now, I would expect them to go to Open PTU before they drop it to the live servers, just purely because it gives them a lot more data with the higher numbers of players playing it at one time. But it could get released any day now, so make sure you keep checking your emails and spam folders just in case you get the email. So this week's Inside Star Citizen first spoke in regards to this work from home transition. Due to the fact that CIG communicate between 5 studios, they are already configured well for this change. So it took them about a week or two just to get set up and make sure that everyone has what they need. But after that, they kind of settled in. One big benefit about them working from home is that they spent more time with internal playtests where they all just play the game together. This means that they probably saw how difficult and buggy the game can be at times and could explain why we are seeing a lot of bug fixes this time round. I think personally that it's vital that the developers should spend a lot of time playing the builds just to get a handle on what is working and what isn't working, in which should increase the quality of life for us. But anyway, on to development. To kick off with, we saw the cargo shop of the cargo decks. This is a one-stop shop for all cargo needs, and it has a small commercial area for retail goods, guild items, which if you're a member, you will maybe get discounts on. There's admin areas, places to rent cargo and ships and containers, all set in kind of like a delivery warehouse environment. Think kind of like a large warehouse with cargo stacked up high. Now, I really love how this is kind of a fully working area, and it will be great to have the option to join the Horrors Guild and get better jobs or discounts and so on. I love this little shop with all the clothing supplies and the barrows. Just sort of reminds me of like a builder's merchant. But what I would really hope to be able to do is to go there and maybe work for a little while. Obviously you won't make a great amount of credits, but kind of like a day in the life of a cargo deck worker would be a lot of fun. Seeing the ships coming and going, loading them and unloading them and helping out, and just seeing everyone go about their business. I think that would be really cool if they could bring that in. Next up, they spoke about the progress of refreshing Grim Hex. Now, as we can see, they are adding hangars and XL hangars, or extra large hangars, so that players can spawn the larger ships. The racing aspect around Grim Hex is getting worked out as well. And if you didn't know, Grim Hex originally, when it was planned, was supposed to come with the option to watch, take part in, and place bets on races around the local asteroids. So it's great to see it's finally making it in. Also, hangars will make a big improvement with CIG trying to establish Grim Hex further as a pirate hangout in Stanton. So providing pirates and criminals with all the amenities that we can find elsewhere at places like Port Olisar. So after this, we had a sprint report, firstly showing concepts in review for a new NPC worker found at the new refinery decks, with Jared saying that this is just one of several new modules currently in development for the modular space station. These locations will add additional gameplay opportunities for players trying to make a living in the verse. Now, when he says several modular space station modules, we know of cargo decks and refinery decks, but what others could there be? What other options are there? Do let me know what you think we could see in terms of modular decks coming to space stations. Leave them in the comments below. Next, we saw 5 concepts for a potential heavy armor set for Terra. Now, this does not mean that the Terra system is coming any day soon. This is just exploring concepts, but it is great to see that they are working on them now, as, you know, they've got to start somewhere, so excellent to see that. The visual effects team are still updating re-entry effects using the signed distance field. They want to ensure that it looks good for all of the ships, but also allows the signed distance field to adapt and change on the fly for the ships that can transition from different states, so like the Katu Al, the Reliance, those sort of things. This time is also allowing them to explore the potential for the tech before implementing it. It also includes the potential for a new burn shader, which can alter the look of the hull itself in line with the heated effects around it. This looks incredible, and I just can't wait to see this applied to all the different ships that we have. It's just another layer of quality to the visual effects. For ships, we got to see the new Cutlass Blue exterior, which is looking great, but we also got to look at the current white box state of the Crusader Industries Starlifter. Now, they are working out the basic layout of its interior, including the large hangar bay and the top deck above. It is looking very impressive. Cannot wait to see where this ends up on the roadmap. Obviously, we don't know where it is yet, but with the Star Runner and the Starlifter now making good progress, this is going to be an ideal ship for bringing in supplies and security for player-built bases, and I just can't wait to try mine out. After this, we got to see the replacement of the derelict ships and the points of interest that they had to replace on the planets after they brought in the Planet Tech version 4. Hopefully, we will have these investigation missions back soon. I did experience them in Evocati. I haven't played them, I haven't noticed them in the 3.9 Wave 1 or Wave 2 build yet, in which you search the derelicts for missing people. But I wonder what other point of interests there will be dotted around. We'll have to go and check them out and see what we can find. The lighting team were revisiting the bartenders' locations to ensure they all look as good as possible. And finally, we got some early work on the Aaron Halo, which is an asteroid belt found within Stanton. With the belt being so dense and vast, ArcCorp built these huge gateways so that ships can safely pass through the belt to get to the other locations. I'm assuming it's just very big, that to get around it would take more time than going through these gateways. But it's very early work, but it will evolve and should come onto the roadmap once they know more about it. I have done a separate video talking about what the Aaron Halo belt and its gateways are, which I have linked in the description below, so be sure to check that out if you'd like to learn more. So that was Inside Star Citizen. It was an absolutely great episode. Big thanks to CIG and the team for all the hard work they're putting in, especially during such a time as this. Calling All Devs is up next, and it's going to be a good one. So this week's Calling All Dev spoke about Fauna, so non-humanoid life forms that will populate the verse. It is great to see such an interesting topic in an official Star Citizen video. But firstly, they broke down that there will be 3 distinct categories to non-humanoid life. We have insects, which they say are more likely going to be visual effects that play around areas like a tree to give it life. There are boids, which are small creatures like frogs, snakes, or rats, like the omnicrabs that we saw at Lorville. And then you have creatures like herding animals or apex predators or the sandworm, which we've seen at Lair 3. Now, the first one that we're going to see is a space cow. This will be the first type of fauna that we will see come into the verse. It is a 4-legged creature, which will need its own kind of animation rig. They'll need to see how this will work and getting it working with sort of planet side as well. Getting its usables established, so it's like what it drinks, what it eats, the watering holes, and its 24-hour schedule, sort of what it does on a full day cycle. These space cows look very unique, and we will bring a more detailed video talking about them soon, but they're called Kazi grazers, which are named after a region on the planet Terra where they're native to. These are pack or herd animals, very similar to what we have as cows anyway. So the little description for them reads as: these large, warm-blooded herd animals were originally discovered on the vast plains of Kazi on Terra, most notable for their unusual method of how they carry their young, kind of like egg sacs underneath by the looks of things. One of the standard seed animals and can be commonly found in most of the terraformed planets found within the UEE. So aside from using their eggs for cooking, the grazers are also used for their meat and in some remote sections of space, tanning their skins for heavy winter clothes. They said that with Terra not going through any of these terraforming processes, it gives the team a chance to create native animals, and as people settle other planets and terraform them, they would then bring these cows to then populate the planet as a food source. Coming after space cows will be space whales, and we recently saw some concept art for these. These are native to Crusader and will be seen occasionally surfacing from the depths of Crusader's gas clouds. Not at launch, obviously, they will come a little later on, but they will likely create tours from Orison to go and see them, like what we have sort of real life whale tours as well. They did say that with all the current harvestables like plants and so on, they would like to create some sort of gameplay associated with animals, maybe harvesting the cow's eggs or the skin, or landing on a whale and scraping barnacles off their backs as they breach from the clouds for a short time, making it a challenge to try and get these barnacles before they go back down below. Now, when it comes to creating these creatures, they want to try to allow us to get an understanding of these animals. So creating something new, not Earth-like, of course, but something that we can relate to. The team are very excited to be creating these. They want us to land on a planet and just see it teeming with life. Once we've seen space cows and space whales, they will then begin working on dangerous animals, which are already being concepted. They did say the worlds will begin to get a little more dangerous, and I cannot wait to see this. They did mention a while ago that these animals that make up the worlds will make sense to their environment. They're not just procedurally generated creatures, picking a head and a body and limbs and then putting it all together. Their physiology will make sense to the location that they're living and to the world, the gravity, that sort of stuff. As I say, we will take a much closer look at what we've heard here and bring a separate video on this whole subject because it is fascinating. So also this week there was a new lore post from the Terra Gazette called Suppression of the Secondary Vote. I am yet to read this, but it's got to be about the Imperator voting upcoming soon. Plus, the latest jump point is available to all subscribers. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a video. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and share the video with all your friends. If you like what I do and want to help me make it better, follow the link below to my Patreon page to learn more.